Miss or Mrs.?
Ms.
Miss Berkeley, you brought this case before the court. What's going on?
Your Honor, I'm here to get custody of my grandchild and also to make my or soon-to-be ex-son-in-law to pay the child support. My daughter was diagnosed with lymphoma, and Your Honor, it was a long and difficult process, as you can imagine, and he wasn't up for it, and he left.
A grieving grandmother takes a stand, her voice trembling with both sorrow and resolve. Her daughter is gone too soon, leaving behind a child and a fractured family. Now she's fighting for custody and for justice. But questions loom over the father. When his wife was battling illness, he disappeared. Can he really be trusted to step back in now? The courtroom is about to expose truths no one expected, and his side of the story will leave everyone stunned.
So I went and helped my daughter and helped my granddaughter through this process. And they had been legally separated. He was paying child support, but when my daughter did pass away, I checked into the account. I had access to her financial business, and I checked the account, and he was not putting the payment in there. So I am looking for the back payments that are due, and I am looking to get custody of my granddaughter.
Okay, so let me just make sure I'm clear. Your daughter is deceased now.
Yes, ma'am.
And my condolences.
Thank you.
You're pretty much trying to step into the shoes of your daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I understand.
Carrying the weight of loss, she did what any mother would. She stepped in. Through her daughter's illness, she became both caretaker and protector, raising the child when no one else would. But after her daughter's passing, she uncovered a painful truth. The child support had vanished. Now she stands before the court, demanding accountability and the right to raise her granddaughter. Will the law honor love or favor biology? The judge is about to ask the questions no one dares to voice.
Okay, why do you believe it would be more appropriate?
He has a lifestyle that I don't necessarily think is best for raising children.
Okay, well, I guess I'll get that from him. Mr. Alberts?
Yes, Your Honor.
What's going on?
Some of those details are correct.
Which ones are not correct?
The fact that I bailed on my wife, our marriage was over a long time before that diagnosis, and we mutually agreed that I would pay child support, that I would support her financially, and I did until she died. And now there's no one to pay child support to, and I don't know why she's dragging me in here, trying to take my kids away from me.
At last, the father speaks, and his words could change everything. He insists the marriage was already broken, that he supported her until the very end. Now, he claims there's no one left to pay. But is this truth, or just a convenient excuse? The grandmother isn't convinced, and neither is a judge. What comes next will dig deep into the father's lifestyle, and the revelations are not in his favor.
What lifestyle is she talking about?
I don't know. Ask her, Your Honor. I really don't know.
What lifestyle?
Well, he spends a lot of times in bars.
Okay.
A lot of time in bars. He spends a lot of money on babysitting because he spends a lot of time in bars.
Okay. Going to the bar is legal.
True, but who's going to be there to help with homework? Who's going to be there to hear the sad story of how she was bullied in class that day? A babysitter? I don't think so.
Buys babysitters and too many Miss Goodnights. The grandmother paints a damning portrait of father lost in nightlife, leaving his child in the hands of strangers. But is that enough? Is being absent at night grounds to lose custody? The judge demands facts, not just feelings, and the grandmother's case seems to be slipping away. Then, just as the momentum fades, she unleashes a bold accusation, one powerful enough to flip the entire case on its head.
So, are you always at the bar and leaving the baby with a babysitter?
No, Your Honor. Anytime
How would she know that?
Maybe because I call every night to say goodnight to my granddaughter,
Okay.
and it's the babysitter that picks up the phone.
Okay. So you don't necessarily know whether he's there or not, right?
Well, why would there be a babysitter there if he's there?
Well, I don't know, but I'm just saying, you don't necessarily know if he's present or not. You just know that the babysitter picks up, right?
Yes. Okay. Technically, yes.
Okay, well then technically you don't really know what he's doing unless you are actually at the bar with him.
She claims is never there. He fires back. That's a lie. He calls every night, but every time it's a babysitter who answers. Coincidence or confirmation? The court now faces a tangled web of emotion and assumption. Even the grandmother admits she doesn't know for certain. Her case is on shaky ground, and the judge is pressing in. The question looms large. Is she fighting for justice or crossing a line in a desperate bid to protect her granddaughter?
Or you have someone spying on him, which is completely wrong. But that really has nothing to do with why we're here today. His child support should have stopped because there is no one to pay the child support to. Your granddaughter lived with your daughter, right? At
Yes.
the time of her death. Right, so you can't step into the shoes of your daughter. The only other living parent is dad.
True, but Dad was not around for the last 2 years. I was.
Right, but the child now has been living with dad since your daughter passed away, right?
Yes.
And when did your daughter pass away?
About a year ago.
Yeah.
The judge draws a hard line. You cannot step into the shoes of the deceased, not legally. For all the years a grandmother raised a child, the law now recognizes only one parent, the father. But is the law truly fair when love was abandoned? The tension spikes as a courtroom wrestles with what custody, care, and family really mean. And just when it seems there's no path forward, a heartbreaking detail emerges that changes everything.
Your rights are not superior over his in this particular case. There wouldn't be. There's no reason why he should be paying child support to you. I mean, you had access to the account that the money was going into because of your daughter. But now that she's deceased, there's no one to pay the child support to. So he should not be paying child support anymore. So he did the right thing. You just may not agree with it, but
I do not agree with it, Your Honor.
why do you need the money?
I don't need the money. I need to make sure that my granddaughter is getting everything that she deserves.
But how would you know that if she lives with him?
The judge makes it plain. Child support ends with the mother's death. By law, the father has done nothing wrong. But the grandmother isn't fighting for money. She's fighting for certainty, for proof her granddaughter is truly being cared for. How can she know when she's left on the outside looking in? The judge begins to question her motives, and the truth cuts deep. This battle isn't about finances at all. It's about fear. And now, she risks everything with one final plea.
Now, if she lived with you, that would be valid. But if she lives with him, you can't necessarily speculate and say what he is or he isn't doing.
Well, I know what my granddaughter tells me.
Well, we're not going to go into that because children aren't very honest all the time. And how old is this child?
6.
Yeah, they have a very big imagination. So, I mean, I can't do anything about that. He should not be paying child support. And I'm assuming you cover the child on health insurance?
Yes, Your Honor.
I mean, the only thing I can order, pretty much is that he maintains that child support. The medical support on the child. But other than that, and that's through your employer,
Yes.
that's all that he can be ordered to do.
A 6-year-old child, a fractured family, and a grandmother desperate to believe her. But the judge delivers a sobering reminder. Children don't always tell the full truth. Imagination, confusion, and raw emotion can blur the lines. What is clear, however, is that the grandmother has no legal standing. The father leaves not only with custody, but with a weight of final authority. Yet in this courtroom, peace is never certain. And as a gavel falls, one haunting question remains. Was justice truly served?
I'm not going to make him pay child support for a child that belongs to him and that lives in his house.
Fine.
Okay. Is there anything further from you?
No, Your Honor.
Anything else from you?
What if the child wants to come live with me?
Well, she's 6 and you're not her parent. So she does not get to make that call. Now, dad starts doing something, like if it's actually proven that he's been neglectful and going to bars or anything like that, and the child ends up living with you, then yeah, but you're not the parent. So unfortunately, I can't do anything about that.
Right.
Okay. If there's nothing further, you all are dismissed.
It's over. The court denies child support, rejects the grandmother's bid for guardianship, and leaves the law firmly on the father's side. But has justice truly been served? A child's future hangs in the balance. A grandmother walks away with nothing, while the father walks away with everything. But should he? That's for you to decide. Was this the right call, or a failure of the system? Share your thoughts in the comments. Hit subscribe, and stay tuned for more real courtroom drama.